Hey, what's up guys? This is a full 10-minute follow along mobility routine specifically for the lower body today. And a lot of the stuff that you see with Instagram, it's great for getting exposure to these types of routines, but it's very quick. It's less than 60 seconds. I'm going to go through everything in detail today, so you're going to be clear on the correct technique, how to do these movements safely and effectively to ensure you're doing the right thing from the get-go. I'd recommend doing this, daily would be fantastic, but 2 to 3 days a week would be great if you can get into that routine. And the most important thing is this is a generalized routine. So if you cannot do something, don't force it. Don't force through pain, and particularly if you have issues with your knees or your lower back, don't push through if something is uncomfortable. If you want more specialized help, you can apply for coaching in the description, and we can look at getting you a customized routine built specifically for where you're at right now today. So I'm going to set a 10-minute timer. I'm going to spend about 1 to 2 minutes explaining the movements, and we're going to go through the lower body. And I'm just going to put on this timer, which is going to beep every 60 seconds as well to keep me on track. Now we're going to start on our back, and the big reason for this is we want to get your body feeling safe and just ready to exercise, but also feeling like exercise is a good thing. If you always feel off-put by exercising, you're not going to do it. And the more points of contact you have in contact with the ground, your body's going to feel safer. So the glute bridge, I love this exercise because even if your knees are sore or if you've got lower back issues, this is generally a super safe movement to start with. So for about 60 seconds, you're just going to focus on actually pushing your lower back into the ground, and then from there, lifting your hips up off the ground and just focusing on nice slow movements here. And again, focus on tucking your tailbone under, so you're pushing your lower back into the ground and lifting all the way up. So 1 to 2 minutes on all the movements here. So it's going to give you about 10 to 12 minutes when you're doing this by yourself. And it's just a nice way to start. You can then do a knee hug. A good thing about the knee hug is this is basically a squat position. So you can see where you're at. If you're here, being able to actually squat's going to be much harder, but you can just start practicing your squat with these knee hugs. You can also do a single leg version, pulling the knee up to the chest, switching sides, and pulling the knee up to the chest. So from there, we're going to go into a modified pigeon. With the modified pigeon, you're setting yourself up in a 90-degree angle with the front leg. So it looks like this. A lot of the times your knee is going to be up. That's very normal. But what happens, or what helps a lot of people, is just actually shifting their upper body forwards. So generally when you shift your upper body forwards until your knee touches the ground, that's going to make it a lot easier to actually get that knee contact. If you're still struggling, you can put cushions under here, and just looking down at your knee, there should be roughly a 90-degree angle here. And from there, I'm going to make sure that my sternum, my chest, is in line with my kneecap, and I'm focusing on hinging at the hip. So I'm hinging, bending from the hip versus the lower back. And I'm going for 10 repetitions here. Okay? What I'm thinking about when I'm doing this is actively driving the knee into the ground and my ankle into the ground. When you do this correctly, you will be feeling your glute, okay? So your butt cheek. It's going to start feeling engaging. And then on the 10th rep, you're going to go for a static hold. So now I'm holding statically. For whatever reason, if this is uncomfortable, you can have your hands up here as well, like on a table or on a chair. That makes it easier. And after about 10 seconds, you can release. You can do this for like 2 to 3 sets, and then switching sides. I'm just going to show you what it looks like on the other leg. So again, 90-degree angle, back knee touches the front heel, sternum in line with the knee, and then I'm going to go for 10 repetitions again. And again, I'm keeping that pressure. The knee is pushing into the ground, the ankle is pushing into the ground, and then on the static hold, let's just say this is the 10th rep, I'm going to hold it statically now, and I'm actively driving the knee and ankle into the ground. So you should feel the tension and the stretch starting the hip on the other side. So this kind of area here. Now, after each rep, if you have the availability, you can do these 90-90 switches. I really like these because it gets your hip moving through external and internal rotation. So now this hip is on external rotation, this hip is internally rotated. You mightn't have the mobility I do, that's totally fine. When I first started doing this, I was getting to here, my hip was feeling really tight. Now I can get all the way down. If you feel this is really difficult, you can also lean back more. So leaning back is just going to make this more accessible to you, okay? And then if this is easy, you can take your hands off and just get more movement through the hip joint. So from there, we're going to focus on lunge A. I'm actually going to go from this angle because I'm going to show you a progression. So basically lunge A, you're on your back knee. And from there, you can tuck the back toe or relax it. And we're going to basically move forwards into the stretch. Again, I like to do the dynamic stretches and then a static hold. And the biggest thing I'm focusing on here is not arching my lower back, which you see a lot of really flexible yoga instructors in particular. And like nothing against yoga instructors, I'm certified Hatha and Ashtanga yoga teacher, but they're super bendy and they just kind of fall into this position, but they're putting a lot of pressure on their lower back. So you actually want to have a little bit of tension through the abs, like someone's going to punch you in the stomach as you're going into this position. And then when you do your static hold, you're focusing on squeezing your glute. You're going to get a way better stretch through the hip flexor by focusing on that. If you want to make it even more challenging, you can reach up and over the top. That's going to focus on opening up the obliques a bit as well. And then if you want to progress even more, you can go into a couch stretch. Okay, so you can put padding underneath here like this. Going back this far is very advanced. So you might just start by having your knee out a little bit, starting here, and then having some support with the wall or a chair, starting to just work and open up that quad. You can also squeeze the glute here, just so you're really slowly opening up that quad position. Okay, so you're going to go and do both sides. We're going to keep moving because I want to get through this in 10 minutes. From there, we're going to go into the pancake, but generally the pancake is easier, and most exercises are easier if you do a one-sided version first. So we can do this kind of half kneeling adductor stretch, which opens up the adductors, which is what we're targeting with the pancake. And this is a pretty safe version for people to get started with. So this is what it looks like. And we're basically hinging forwards and backwards. You're going to feel your adductor opening. And on the 10th rep, you're just going to hold wherever you feel the deepest stretch here. You can make this more intense by pushing the foot into the ground. I'm going to get more of a contraction here. And then I'm going for my 10 repetitions again. I'm doing this on both sides. So I'm going to show you the other side, like so. So 10 times again. And then you can also focus on rotating the hip externally. So I'm bringing my toe to the ceiling. If that's available to you, you can do that. So again, roughly 60 seconds each side. You can do like 10 repetitions, do a static hold for 10 seconds and repeat until the time is up. And then from there, we're moving to like a standing pancake. So standing pancake, you go and spread your feet, not to your complete limit, but to a good distance of length. And then you're going to hinge down from the hips and hold on to the ground. Now for a lot of you, this is probably going to be too much at the start. So another option is to have something like a chair that is ideally stable, and you're just going to hang out on your chair here in this position. I can feel my adductors opening, but I feel very safe in this position. Then over time, as my mobility improves, I can go into my full pancake off the ground, and then with time you can
focus on bringing your head closer to the ground. Again, this isn't something to force, but over time you'll get that range to get to that distance. And we're going to finish with the elephant walk. So tabletop position, shoulders are directly over the hands, knees below the hips. And from there, I'm going to tuck my toes, push my butt up to the ceiling. My left leg is actually really tight, my calf and my hamstring, because I tweaked it last week. So there is a lot of tension here, but I'm just going to walk this out. And if you're really stiff, you might be kind of in this position, okay? So I want you to really just focus on lifting your bum up, keeping your knees bent as much as you can. And then you're just trying to walk it out. Little knee bends. If you're a bit more flexible, you can focus on trying to get your heel all the way to the ground, but it's not a deal breaker. A lot of you guys are going to be just here. The big thing we're focusing on is allowing our head to fall between our shoulders, like so. Basically 60 seconds on that movement as well. And I like to do movements for time, because when you're focused on just doing it throughout the 60-second time period, you can just focusing on executing the rep or the stretch for as well as you can during that time period. Okay, so that is the 10-minute routine, guys. I think I went a little bit over, but I hope the breakdown makes you more confident to do these and feel like these movements are going to be more accessible to you based on where you're at today. So I really hope you got value from today's video, and if you want a more customized approach, you can click the link below to apply for online coaching.